Today we're going to demonstrate a 4-flap graft, also called a banana graft, that we'll say we've repaired the rootstock by trimming it, all the lower limbs off. We've cut the top off at about the same size diameter on the stem as the sign wood. And this is sign wood. This sign wood is a different variety. It is Elliott variety that we collected in January. We collected this in January, and what we're going to do to prepare the rootstock, we're going to cut. And this is an actively growing rootstock limb. This was the part that was on top, so you can see it was actively growing green wood. Then I'm going to cut it in 4 places, and that's where the name 4-flap comes from. I'm going to use my grafting knife, and I'm going to cut it in 4 places. Just going to cut through the bark down to the white wood. And so what we're doing, we're cutting through the bark and the floor, and we're leaving some cambium on a little bit of cambium is on this bark. There's also cambium cells and layer on this interior wood. And I'm peeling this back. And this is where also, before I go any further, I need to put a rubber band underneath it that you'll see later that's very necessary to do. I peel all of this wood, this bark back, exposing this center piece, and I want to be very careful peeling it back, and so that I don't break any of those flaps that I have done. This also is called a banana graft because it peels back like a banana. Then I take my shears and I cut that center part out, and then prepare the sign wood. What I will do, and it's dormant wood, completely dormant, so the bark is not slipping on the wood. I want to cut it in 4 places down to the white wood, but I want to leave a strip of bark so that cambium layer of the sign is exposed. I'm going to cut it on 4 sides, cut right through that bud, and so I've left a little bit of cambium underneath that bark. And the bottom of it cut to a fresh cut, and I put it right in for those 4 flaps that I have cut and it brought back. And I roll up this rubber band so that it will hold it in place while I get my tape or a rubber band and put around it and secure it in place. In this case, I'm going to use a rubber strip, a 3/8 inch wide rubber strip that's 8 inches long. Start at the bottom and just wrap around it very tightly. You can use other materials. You can use real stretchy tape, but anything to hold it tightly. And the purpose of this, as I use this rubber strip, I'm overlapping each time so that it will seal it and also keep it from dehydrating and also holding in place. One of the disadvantages of this type of graft is it doesn't provide a really secure stable graft, and you have to oftentimes use some kind of support like a stake to hold it in place so that if a bird lands on it or something like that, it's not going to dislodge it. And you want to make sure it stays in place for at least a couple of months, that being moved. So I put 2 rubber strips. It's taken 2 rubber strips to hold this in place and secure it tightly. And now I really don't have any need for this other rubber band. I can take it off or leave it on. It'll finally degrade out in the sun. So this has got the grafted area bound up so that we have the cambium areas close together and in contact. I want to go in and further seal this. I can take some paraffin tape, like it's on this particular roll, and I can take it and stretch this, and this will stick to itself as I bring it around. And the whole purpose of this is just to seal this wound up, make sure I've covered all these exposed areas, and keep it from drying out, which is one of the major problems we have with grafting. It's that area drying out. Then, to finish off this graft, I'm going to take a little piece of aluminum foil, are pre-cut. Doesn't take much, because we're not looking at very big diameters here. And just wrap it up, wrap that area up, and this will again this will help in this area drying out, and also protect it from excessive heat. And then as I finish it up, I take a piece of tape. I can take a piece of tape and I can go around the top and the bottom of this aluminum foil so that it will stay in place, that if a bird comes by and pecks on the aluminum foil, it's not going to come off, or if the wind blows, that it will stay in place until this graft union is healed and the top begins to grow, which is usually about somewhere between a month, 2 months. We should have it healed in place, and we can come in and take this wrapping off at that time. So if this is usually by June, early July, we can come in and take this apart. This is a 4-flap graft on a pecan, 2-year-old rootstock, grafted onto that a sign wood that I collected in January. The sign wood was totally dormant. The rootstock is actively growing, so we have actively growing material that would peel back the bark, called a 4-flap graft, and we slid in a piece of sign wood. And this is usually a very safe graft, so you don't have exposure to your hands from the knife cutting like you do with whipping tongue and other grafts, and it is usually a very successful graft.